Hello, good day to everyone. Hope everybody is doing well. This is Nathaniel Evans again. I'm the Dada Podcast with his co-host Guinea Muhammad. Um, yeah, just happy to be here. Happy to connect with everybody out there in the world. Whoever we reach, whoever reaches us, it's always a good thing to stay connected. So I focus more on spirituality and leadership, and I don't know. I dip and dab in so many things. Sometimes it's like, you gotta like really synergize, everything. So this podcast like allows me to do that as well to keep myself, focused. And she didn't have to tell you about her before we actually start our discussion, our show.
Peace and blessings. I am Jeannie Muhammad, your global happiness expert. So many of us have challenges in our lives that we have lost ourselves in those challenges. Well, what I do is I inspire and empower us to know that we can heal from within and live joyful, peaceful, and happy lives no matter what chaos is happening around us. And one of the ways of doing that is to always stay in a mind of gratitude, understanding that we have such an abundance of everything that we need around us that we should not focus on what we are missing in life, but really focus on how blessed we are and the things that we have in our lives to be grateful for. I am grateful for you for spending time with us, me and Nathaniel. I'm grateful for Nathaniel for starting this space that we can share together. So I just want to say I am grateful. And I am looking forward to our topic today. It's such an empowering topic. How to keep your power. Oh, Nathaniel,
Mm.
I want you to share with me how do you keep your power?
Mm. It's actually just really they're taking the time out to like really analyze like who you are, and what you have to offer, to yourself, but also to the world. But we just focusing on you, right? Knowing like what actually is that niche in the world that you actually contribute to. How people view you in the world, whatever it may be. It may be this thing as far as being a caregiver. Maybe things as far as being a leader, or starting new paths in your life. But as you journey, and people will find you for different strengths that you have, and they want to utilize you for those strengths. And you want to naturally like give them out to people because it's like something that a lot of people intuitively actually look to connect with other people to the point where a lot of times they come depleted themselves. So it's actually finding out what is the strength of who you are, and make sure even though if you giving them out, your gifts, basically what I would call them, is that you keep yourself grounded within your same gifts. Like you don't give out all your gifts to the point where you don't have any gifts for yourself. So this world is so fluent, I would say, in the way that it speaks to us and
Mm-hmm.
how it engages with us, that a lot of times we forget that this world a lot of times want more from us than what we actually able to really give out freely, and actually keep our spiritual connections in the world, including our sanity in some instances. So it's trying to find that balance that we actually need to. Yeah, you do superhero, superhero powers or whatever. By the end of the day, you still got to bathe, so you still got to go, Rite Aid and find you some body wash or something like that. 'Cause you still got to bathe like everybody else. It's like the like what kind of body wash would a superhero actually use, so it's like, being, you know charismatic, but also, joyful, and like who you are, and basically not like taking yourself. A lot of times I would say it's one of the ways of what I would touch on is actually to keep your power is to be humble, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would say
Oh,
to be
great. Yeah.
humble is one of those components that you can use for your life that will allow you to keep, your power even as you're getting older, and your positions sometimes may shift, but that connection with who you were, who you are, to whatever it is that you was placed to do, if you was humble in it, you'll find yourself more involved with it even in your older years. But if you take it, selfishly, and you say stuff like, it's I without me, there's not this, and I'm gonna be this without me, there's not gonna be that without me, or start really like belittling other people or taking advantage of your situation, then the gifts that you actually was set out to be a good component for your life turns out to be something that's not so pleasant for your life. So
Mm-hmm.
how to keep your power. Is so essential for leaders, especially of this time, because some of us are self-proclaimed leaders, and some leaders was actually appointed by the people, or some leaders, they create a nonprofit or a corporation. They make themselves leaders just by creating those things. But in the creation of things, like what are you creating out? Like what are you pushing out when? Because anytime you create something, there's something else that you have to push out, right?
Right.
So if you made biscuits every Sunday at 6 o'clock, and you find a new path, right? But at 6 o'clock, you got to be on this, this call, or you got to be at this certain location to work with this set of group of people. That time when you was actually, baking is now at jeopardy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the atmosphere, the people that was around you was accustomed, to you baking on Sundays at 6 o'clock, right? It's just something that they would look forward to. Even if you like slowly let them know, like, I'm gonna tell them for 6 months, every day, every Sunday for 6 months, that in the 6th month, what I mean, me telling them this, I'm no longer gonna be baking on Sundays at 6 p.m.
Right.
Even if you took the time out to actually set that in course, a lot of times human nature is not to believe a lot of things until it becomes evident, right?
Right.
So
Right.
because you have instructed this person over and over, or these people over and over again, that you'll no longer be going to be fulfilling this task, does not mean when you make the shift that everybody's going to be comfortable with you making this shift,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
So you even prepared them for that shift, but it's still not going to be that smooth breeze that she was looking for. Like, yay, yay, she's on a new path. She's doing something different. We're so happy for her. Now, what we're going to eat on Sundays at 6 p.m., you know?
Yes.
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 So even in instances like that, it's like really, if you have to do it, you be humble, or, you might send over some baked cookies, you know, for 3 months, you
To kind of
know,
ease the pain, huh?
kind of ease the pain. Right? You might find a way to not even just safeguard them. I think a lot of times it's actually safeguard you. Because,
Right. Right.
it's for you to be at peace with the things that's going to bring you peace in your life, right? And a lot of times you you want it to be the people that you want it to be, you want to
Mm-hmm.
try to include the people that you want to include, but life has so many different, branches to one tree, you know, and each one has a different journey. And as you move it on your different journey, within this tree, you gotta understand that sometimes you're gonna graduate to the peak of the tree to the point where, when you want to get back to the bottom, it's gonna be very difficult for you to do that.
Right. Right.
Right. So even though you're making these type of sacrifices for your life, even though you know that you have to put a certain things in perspective, being at peace with the fact that when you pick up a new hobby or a new concept, you know, a new reality for your life, a lot of things that were so-called set in stone or your go-to is no longer going to be your go-to. Even people, like you might be around a different
Right.
group of people now that now you tell this person your secrets, as opposed to telling the other person your secrets, so that actually creates a rip in the fabric, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
on what your power consists of in the world, and what is expected of you, from the power of who you are. What do you expect from yourself? Because
Right.
you might expect so much from yourself that it becomes like a consequence, instead of a
Mm-hmm.
blessing, you
Right.
know, and you don't want to really get tied down into a certain principle, because like once you learn a concept, it's hard to unlearn it,
Right.
right? So you don't want to dip and dab and say every concept of knowledge, right? So it's like
Okay.
if you walking by an old antique store and they have a book in the window and says, read this to become a witch in 10 days, like,
Mm-hmm.
would you want to read that book? Like, you know what I'm saying? And if you actually do take the time out to say, I'm gonna take my time and I'm gonna open this book, I'm gonna read this book, right? What would be the premise of you actually learn how to be a witch in 10 days, right?
Okay.
So when you pick up certain things, you gotta understand, like, how do they correlate with who you are, like, or are you trying to create new branches within a branch? You know what I'm saying? Because every
Right.
branch has other branch has new branches within it, right? So it's not
Right.
just one branch that actually creates other branches that actually bring forth leaves, right? So
Right.
you got, and then those branches create leaves and branches within those as well.
Right.
On how, if I was to pick up this knowledge, like, how does it really, like, magnify my life and increase me? You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Or is it just,
Right.
or I'm just reading like a Tom Clancy book and I'm just trying to get away from my hectic day. So you're gonna take me on a trip to Bahamas, and I'm being chased by madmen, right? Something like that. Try to change the
Taking you out
flow.
of your daily
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
reality.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's shocking me. Like, if they chase me down the beach, the sand is so soft. I don't want to leave the sand. It's so soft when I'm being chased. I got to get off the beach anyway. Type situation. I I just believe that it's a gift to know that you may have certain realities about you that's special. Just even knowing that itself, like, even just getting to that conclusion itself is a primary conclusion within itself, because you can obtain so many different things in this world, but if you're not at peace with obtaining them, like, that you don't feel like you deserve to have them, you know,
Mm-hmm.
if you're felt ashamed that you have when other people around you, they don't have these same things, or you've been trying to
Mm-hmm.
share your gift with them, but it's easy for you to do it yourself than share with others. Like, sometimes it's
Right.
like that,
Right.
right? So it's like,
Right.
how to, find your inner peace, what I'm saying, that's going to bring you
Right.
that type of, inner peace with that reality, and keeping that power that actually keeps you fueled, what I mean, that gives you that
Right.
energy to
Right.
continue to navigate and move to different directions. Because if you actually fail to actually put that in your equation, then a lot of things that you're doing eventually, they will sap your attention.
Right.
They would derail you into doing different things, because You didn't make a promise to yourself that this is your power that you have, and that you're going to keep this power that you have, and you're going to make these type of, you know, structures or strategies to keep these different things in place. Because if you have five foundations, they break one at a time, you can fix them, simultaneously. But if they break all at the same time, then you're in trouble, right? So,
Yes, you know, you when I look at this subject, Nathaniel, everything you say is so powerful in itself, and recognizing your power. You're talking about focusing on your power. And I was thinking about, where does this power come from? Knowing where your power comes from. Because as you said about being humble to me, part of that is recognizing that you are not the originator of your power. You know, I didn't give myself power. I can call on the power that has been given to me, because it, to me that power comes from within. When we were are created, who gives us life? The giver of life is the one that gives us that power that has been shared with us from that giver of life. You know, I am made in the image of my creator. And not only am I made in the image of my creator, but my creator has been so beneficent and so merciful in sharing his power with me. I am nothing without that giver of life. That was a gift given to me. And how do I handle this power? How do I guard this power? How do I keep my power? And you said one thing that resonates with me is by being humble. That is a way to keep my power, knowing that I didn't give it to myself, knowing that it can be taken from me, and knowing that it's an awesome responsibility, this power that I have been given. And what am I going to use this power for? Am I going to use it for good? Am I going to use it to elevate the people around me? Am I going to use it to show love? Because to me, this power is predicated on love. I don't believe that our Creator would have given us this power if He did not love us and want to see us use this power for good.
mm,
You know, and so how do you keep the power? How do you increase the power?
there
I
are a lot of different things that
Go ahead.
no, it's a lot of different things that you can do to keep, but also, in a way to increase it without a lot of times, because one thing about power, when power increases, it let itself be known in the room, right? Like a lot of times, it's hard for people to be a Frank Matthews, right? To be able to be a powerful, person in a society that nobody really knows about, but this person is really powerful. Like a lot of times, power it takes on a mind of its own to the point where you increase by it. Maybe it might be by money, or maybe by authorship of something, that it also increases your concept of what that power consists of, right? And even to keep that type of power, even if the power is if the power is not in harmony, what I mean, with what I would say the universe, the Most High, right? then the power is basically like self-made. It's basically like self-made power. And when that power is no longer, say, let's just say metaphorically, able to pick up a hammer, what I mean, and knock itself back into place, right? Then that power won't be there any longer, right? So I believe that one of the things to keep in power is to be at a we, be at a we of life. I'm saying, like,
Mm-hmm.
be excited that you have this power, that you found this power, that's going to take you to a different plateau in your life, and instead of you being a we, you can add something else to that mixture, to keep it promising for your life. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like being a football player, and losing one of your legs, right? Like you don't want to be, you know, you don't want to lose a great value of your gift. You know what I'm saying? By
Mm-hmm.
not appreciating it. Like person might have went out drunk driving and watched how they lost their leg by not appreciating, that I got both of my legs. I need them so I can continue to play my passion, which is football. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna drink and I'm gonna drive back drunk, and I don't even wear my seatbelt. You know what I'm saying? So everything that was there as a present danger, what I'm saying, for you losing that gift for that value, were there step by step until the incident actually occurred, right? So it's
Right.
before you step by, you're like, well, yeah, I'm gonna take the train there, and I'm gonna take a cab back home because I know I'm gonna get drunk, because I can't get injured. I got a big game coming up. I've been fighting my butt off. My mom been taking me to practice since I've been 10. I want to show her that I'm going to, make a good success out of my career. You may turn around and do something that's totally different that will actually harm your career, as a
Right.
professional, you
Right.
know. So our gifts is basically the same facet because they are able to get chopped off, at the limbs. They are able to be rearranged, so we may have to step back to one gift to get back to another gift that we might have lost and things of that nature. So
Right.
it's
Well,
just a
you
gift of,
know,
yeah.
I'm looking at, I was thinking as you were talking about uh, I am the data. That's understanding that, that's power.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
am the data. That's, I was thinking, wow, to really uh, br- take that inward and understand the power of that. That's a very powerful statement.
Yeah,
That's
basically, it's just self affirmations. Like you have to get empower yourself. And everything that you do. You have to be what I would say your greatest fan. It's not going to be a greater fan for you for your life than you. You know what I mean? You have to
right.
be your greatest fan. You can take your gifts and you can share it. With a lot of people. And if you were to say I share my gift with 1,000 people, how many people are going to actually live the life that I would have lived if I didn't die early? Like if you was able to know you was going to die early, like how many people that you share take the time out to share your gifts and things will actually walk, and like that you was walking in. You know what I mean? Actually, follow you in the things that you was doing. Like you hear about Martin Luther King, but you don't hear about Martin Luther King's sons and daughters, leading campaigns throughout the world and getting involved with Close Rockers Island campaigns or stop homelessness campaigns in our communities. We don't. I hear about Malcolm X every single year when his birthday come around, but I don't see his children in land. I don't see them, building, on the fundamental tools that he actually, sacrificed his life for. I don't
Right.
see the children of Gandhi, you know, tied into the political, social context. You know what I'm saying, of India to help their father continue on the path of liberating the
You know,
Indians people.
and that
So,
weighs into the saying about, a prophet is without honor in his own home. Isn't that the
Yeah,
way that
that's what
goes?
yeah, that's what Christ said. He said a prophet is not honored in his own household. You know, so you can set out on this luxurious path of making sure that everybody knows who you are, everybody know what you're capable of doing. You made money for this, you made money for that. You created this speech here, or this, or you was part of this movement here, things of that nature. But it's like, how do you define yourself in fleeting moments,
Hmm.
right? Like, how do you take a fleeting moment and make sure it defines you for the rest of your life,
Right,
right? It's
right,
it's like you can lock yourself into a cage and then say I've never been anywhere, right? Because you lock yourself into a cage, but you would just say there's the way that the world was created, that I never went anywhere. But
right. And
right,
that is really, I believe, Nathaniel, really focusing on what you said earlier, looking inward and understanding our purpose, because until we understand our purpose, we will lose focus on doing the things that we have to do in order to keep our power and increase our power. Because, you know, I believe that power is just like it can corrupt. Power, we can get so big headed with what we have, the gifts that we have been given, and start to think that we are all powerful without uh, understanding the source of that power. You know, and I think that that's what, as leaders, sometimes we become full of ourselves, and we start thinking that we want all the focus to be on us, and we want to be that big man or that big woman without really focusing on the reason we have been given certain gifts. Why why have you been given the gift of being of speaking eloquently? You know, you have this gift. Why was it given to you? Was it given to you for you to always be, I did this, I am this, I am that, I have done this, I can do this, I have spoken here, is that the reason for that gift?
yeah, yeah, and that principle of I that you was talking about, has been analyzed, for centuries. People have been actually always been trying to understand the concept of I when it's a collective of we, right? Because the concept of I cannot exist without the concept of we. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you really, and then you got to look at the concept of creation itself. That if both components need to be in existence before an existence can take place, before you say life can take place, if the male and the female counterpart has to be created, but we say that life comes to the woman, what I'm saying, from the male counterpart. But where did the woman come from for the male to bring forth the woman? You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's always gonna be something that's gonna elude us, right? And trying to like understand the full power of our existence. And I think that that's because that is the case, that there are other things that we can focus our time and our energy on that we can benefit from,
Right,
right? And
right,
just realizing like who we are, as an individual, is the first element of benefiting, what I'm saying, from this beneficial, creation that we actually are as a people.
right,
And instead of trying to understand like how does the male and the female come into existence from the beginning, and all these other different levels of knowledge that we try to accumulate, and then people actually become masters of the dead. You have people that have become masters of living, masters of saying that, they can uh, allow you to acquire wealth and things if you was to actually do these things or that things or and then at the end of the day, is it enough? You know what I'm saying? Like, you would go out your way to create this reality for yourself, but is it actually enough for yourself? Right? If it came to the point where like, you've been doing such a great job and I'm coming to get you tomorrow, because your time is up. You've been doing some amazing things. I like the energy that you produce. I need to take that energy that you produce here and I need to put it over here in this
Mm,
sector right now so you can continue on with your journey, right?
mm,
Would you accept the transfer of energy from one space to the next?
yeah.
Knowingly, because you say you were such a beautiful person, right? Like you help people save their homes or their marriages or this or whatever it is that this other energy source takes notice of you for. This is what actually causes you to actually make a transition probably before people believe it's your time to do so, right? You might be 40 years old when this concept comes to you. Like, will you actually be in a space where you can say, you know what, it's time to ride. Like, I'm good. Like
Mhm.
I have no regrets.
Right,
I don't wish I did this or that. I'm just glad that I was, you know what I mean? And that I continue to be, that I am. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
right, right.
trying to accumulate so many things, you got to see if it's going to bring you peace. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Because
right.
you
That's
have
right.
children, you might have 6 children and you accumulating, they might all harm you. You know what I mean? For the things that you accumulated. Or, you know what I mean? You might have 6 children, I don't care nothing about what you accumulated, and it's none of their business. You know what I'm saying? They just go and
Yeah,
live their own life. You know what
that's
I'm
true.
saying?
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
So
That's
yeah.
true. You know,
So
and because
yeah.
sometimes, and what you're saying is, and I think about, somebody that might pass in their 40s, and you say, wow, they, passed so young and they hadn't even lived their life. But how do you know they haven't accomplished the mission that they were sent here to accomplish? You don't
That's right.
know,
You don't
you
know
know,
because you don't even know from your own, what I mean, metaphysical relationship that you're supposed to have with yourself. Even if you were to tap into your highest metaphysical form that you can on this plane, there's still a metaphysical power that would await you at every breath. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
don't get it twisted that you're going to reach a plateau in existence that you no longer seek to exist, right? So it's like you don't want to take yourself outside of the spectrum of life itself because you have become greater than life. You was able to, do all these different things with your life. You was amazing composer, or you was amazing person that made movies or something like that. But then someone comes in your household through a window that you forgot to lock and harm you. You know what I'm saying? But it
Right,
was like, how this person was so amazing. Why didn't they remember to lock the window? Right? It's just so many different things that, you may feel that you at a certain level, but the humility of actually seeing life on realistic terms will show you that different people see you in different ways. So
right,
because you want everyone to look at you the same way, they don't. So even though you have created this concept, what I mean, being a sex appeal, some another one might, but he's just way too cocky. He think he's sexy, but he's just way too cocky. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Or he's a male chauvinist. So he's, you know what I'm saying? So you may not get the responses from everybody that you seeking by you creating this reality for yourself. Even if you create it, it's for yourself. A lot of times, it's not how the world is always going to perceive you. And if they don't, you're being humbled and say, "Yeah, man, I was just trying to make a living. I was following my passion. I was making a living. I wasn't trying to turn into a god and be turned into a statue and put in somebody's living room." right? Because you know what I'm saying? Like, if that
Yes.
was your case, if that was the case, what if somebody could just say, you know what, she's doing really good. I like her energy. Turn her into a gold statue. I'm gonna put her on the inches on my porch. So
Oh
when people
no.
come by, you know, they could just rub her shoulders and ask for good luck. Like,
No, that's
that,
that that
that
that's one of them craven images. One of them.
yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I mean,
uh-oh.
if you want to be immortalized, wouldn't that be one of the ways that you could do it,
No, I wouldn't.
right?
No, no,
Uh,
no, no.
like, I
I don't
mean,
want.
if you really want to be like, oh, I'm this, oh, I'm that, you know
I
what I mean?
know. Well, some
Imagine
people
that's
might want to
one of
have
them.
their image. Yeah, some
Yeah, that
people.
might be. Would that be a
Yeah,
reward? Would that be a reward? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was watching the
but
show.
for me, it would not be. For me to have my image like that, it would not be. You know what I would prefer,
No, it's not
Nathaniel?
your image. It's gonna be you.
Always go.
It's gonna be ain't no image here. It's gonna be you
Oh,
transformed.
I'm actually gonna be sitting out there on
Yeah,
the
all
corner.
day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Weather resistant too.
You
You
are
ain't got no.
weather resistant.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can spend
Oh, I
sitting out there,
definitely do that.
right? He definitely don't want that to happen to you, right? So I
No.
just say that. And my facetious little joke there.
Oh,
Like
you're so funny. You're so
yeah,
funny.
I'm just saying, like, if that was like a perk or something like that, right? To look forward to. I don't really, I don't really know, how many people
That is so
actually,
funny.
show of
I,
hands or actually want to be involved with that type of perk right there. So it's like,
somebody might like that.
yeah, I mean, until they get a taste of it, because if the transformation might take place like in the summertime, so they get to feel the nice heat throughout the day and that warm breeze at night. But when it get cold, and they're not really weather resistant like they're supposed to be, there's gonna be a hard winter, right? So you you, you,
Oh,
you might
Nathaniel,
you might want to
Nathaniel.
say that that's something that you want to do until you experience something on that level.
You don't make laugh till I got tears in my eyes. That.
I'm just I'm just saying, man. You know,
Wow.
how to keep your power. Like, cause, and I say
Oh,
that,
definitely. I definitely. Oh my gosh.
yeah, I mean, because if you're humble in your power, like it's really hard for a lot of people, to really find you a lot of times, a lot of times, even harm you by the things you have done because you're so humble in who you are. Like, it would be hard for you to actually turn into that type of, you know, iconic nature of a person.
Oh, that
You
ego.
know,
That's so
yeah,
egotistical. I mean, oh my gosh.
yeah, because you want to make sure that
Mm-mm.
you have your successes in life. You know what I mean, but that you can also transition. You know what I mean, what a component of what those successes may be, right? Because, like, we like to create books. You know, we love to create statues and pictures, and it gives us some sense of humility on a humanistic level that we survive. So it's as a way to
Right,
actually
right,
characterize that we did survive. Look, we used to be a Joe Lewis on TV. It used to be a Joe Lewis alive. Look, we got him on TV. It used to be this person alive. Look, we got pictures of her in the 1700s and things of that
right,
nature. So it's
right.
like it shows us a lot too, as far as us even continue to do these type of different recordings of our lives. Is that we
Right.
have realized, you know, on a deep level, you know, we have realized that life seems and life is the principal matter of all things. right? We have
Right.
seen this. This is why we take the time out to learn about life, to learn about religions and cultures, and customs, right? Within all these things, we like a needle in a haystack looking for that one gift of life. And you got, billion pounds of things you got to sort through to try to find, this one element of life. But
Right.
every time you find one, there's another one right around the bend.
Right.
And when you find another component of life, there's another one sitting right there, right
Right.
in your face. It's been sitting there the whole
Right.
time. You say, "Oh my God, I didn't even see you. You scared me." Right?
Right.
It's understanding that, if life was actually the sea itself, let's say life was the sea itself, and you had to dive in the sea to find it, what would you find when you go into the sea to look for life? You find more
Right.
life. You find more
Right.
life. Like everywhere you turn, you're gonna find more life. Even if it's not just species, it's still gonna be a form of life. Trees can't grow if they don't have life. You can see if a tree has life just by looking at it, whether it might be
Right.
underwater or above it, you know. And at times like this, tapping into the core of life is actually the core of life, you know,
Mhm.
enjoying life itself is, the principle of having, the perspective that we actually have life, that we actually even to be
You
able to
know,
express it.
and sometimes, Nathaniel, I believe we really miss the enjoyment of life because we are rushing through life a lot of times because we have been given this concept of what success is. And because we've been given this concept that success is having a big fine car, having a big fine house, having a lot of money, having a lot of expensive material things, that once you have all of that, you're successful. And so we spend a lot of our life trying to achieve those things and we don't really understand the abundance of life and enjoy the abundance of life because we're chasing after things that we have been told this is what it is to be successful, and not understanding that success is finding joy, peace, and happiness in the now, finding that in what you have now, being grateful for what you have now instead of chasing after things and feeling that if you don't have all of those things that we have been taught that define success, we don't find happiness, we don't find
Yeah,
joy.
yeah. I think one of the defining factors is also, from what I look at it, is not to define anything at all. In a sense, like try to your best to stay away from a lot of time those definitions that actually create you, right? So you have like the guy Harvey Weinstein, the music mogul, that was very successful in the movie industry, but he actually came up on charges that he, offended a lot of women, you know, and I used him just for the fact of the matter is that without this power that he, so-called speculated he had, or that he allowed others to convince him that he had, through here people, return the favors for you to allow them to have a successful career type of atmosphere in that room. It's basically like a soft whisper when you walk in that room, like this is what you can do because you in this room, you have this type of power because you're in this room. Doesn't mean that you have to listen to that type of message that comes to you, but it doesn't mean that's not going to be there, especially if this space was always used for that particular reason. Then
Right.
that energy will always be in that room, regardless if you want it to be there or not. Until you actually break the cycle of that the energy, open the window and let it out, it's actually going to stay in the midst of that
Right.
room. But because
Right.
he felt he was so powerful that he continued to do, these things against these different women for he can have his pleasure, for me woman, and a lot of them have their pleasure actually with the increasement of their career. So it's basically feel like it's an equal exchange type of entity that's in his life.
That's where that
But
power corrupts.
yeah, see, and see now as a result, he got sued for millions of dollars. He lost his career, right? His health started dwindling. He went to prison. He's still fighting prison cases. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, oh, now I come from this movie mogul to dying in prison, right?
Right,
So it's
right,
it's about sometimes the power that taps you on the shoulder and tells you that because you have the power, you have the right to do this and that. A lot of times, even though it's in a room with you, and you may feel that everything in this room, like everything is on my desk, belongs to me, right? So whatever comes
right.
into this room, whatever entity, being, you know, that comes in here is mine. Like I'm in full ownership and possession of it. So I'm going to take control of everything that's here, even though some of the things that's here may not be in the best interest for me to control, because not all things that you control you have control over, right?
That's right.
So is understanding like what is that other spectrum, what I'm saying, to this, what I would say infallible concept you created. Like it's something else that is a lot more great than what you created, because creations always allowed the force of other creations to be what I would say in creation, right? So
Right.
because if you create something, understand that someone else is trying to now create it better than you, right? So this is why a lot of people go to prison every year for forensic science. You tell people all the time, don't smoke a cigarette and leave at the crime scene. They're still smoking a cigarette and leave at the crime scene, even though it's been knowledge that if you do this, you will get caught for the crime. But when you in a habitual state where every time you smoke a cigarette, you throw it down, then it doesn't matter where you're really at and what you're doing. Most likely, you're gonna still smoke a cigarette and then throw it down, because that's what you always
Mm-hmm.
do. But if you take the cigarette and put it out and put it in a plastic bag, right,
Mm-hmm.
and take it home with you, then no matter where you're at, you'll always follow the same practice. You'll never throw cigarettes down. You always take it home with you and you dispose it when you get home, right? Whatever. But when we become habitual in the gifts that we have and that power center that we have, to the point where we feel like this is our birthright to do. I was created here to be the best towel folder in the world. I was created so I can open doors at other people's cars and tell them, "Have a nice day, sir. It was a pleasure to meet you," and get a $200 tip. Right? I was created for all these different things. But if you measure life like that, then you won't live. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
you can't measure life by those type of things, because those are some of the things that you may have to do in order to get by or to feed your family, things of the nature. But
Mm-hmm.
they still don't define like who you are, like in a moment of truth about your humanity, right? It still wouldn't define like who you are, right?
Right. Right.
So, yeah, so no matter what you do, no matter what, it's like I seen a post where Mike Tyson says, the first person that marries my daughter, I'm gonna give him a couple $1,000,000 to marry my daughter, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't appealing like that. He's this big masculine, so she took a lot of his DNA. Also,
Mm-hmm.
as a young woman, so she's big, she's strong, you can see it. So he's like, my daughter's not gonna get married. I need her to get married. So even with all this money that he may have had or the fame he may have had, he didn't create this beautiful, dynamic daughter where people say, "That's Mike Tyson's daughter. I got to get to know who she is. I got to get to marry her. She's a beautiful woman. I want to have children through her." Right. So even though you may have this certain reality on one end, you may not have it at every spectrum of life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This is why life is such a gooey place sometimes, because it traps us in so many different elements that no one actually has control over what the elements of life is. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
no one has a clear, definitive reality that that they can like, look, see, it's right there. right? Even with the perception and what we have of the Most High, a lot of people might not see the things that we see, and we may not even see the things that we see. A lot of times, these things that we see are from within. So
Right.
it's like a God pose that's guidance from within, but we don't see where it's leading because it's not leading us from without; it's leading us from within. So we
That's
a lot of
right.
times we don't really get to see what's really going on in the inner workings of what actually creates us to be us, to make us who we are, to give us these fundamental gifts for life, or to allow us to increase in things of that nature. Because it's not a lot of times it's not meant for us to see, and if it's not meant for us to see a lot of times, others won't be able to see it either. So when others a lot of times, seek to define you in a certain way, you got to ask yourself one physiological question, right? And if it's
Hmm.
possible, are they able to see through me to see the core of who I am, right?
Right.
And a lot of time the answer is going to be most likely is going to be no, because no one on a physiological level can actually look through you and to see what's really going on with the inner workings of who you are, your heart, your spirit, that path
Right.
that's in you, that's leading you to the path that's in you. You know what I'm saying? Because basically, it's like
Right.
you're turning back into yourself a lot of times, regardless of what you learn to bring within you. So if you didn't know math and you took this time out to learn math, then math actually becomes a part of you. And then one day you might look at an equation and say, that's the answer. And it's like, how does she know that? Because you took all the different equations in to the point one day you're able to understand equations at a glance. You know what I'm saying? Or you
Right.
might be a person that study different languages. You know what I'm saying? So you might be able to speak 5 or 6 different languages when you only started out learning from one language, right? So whatever language you brought out, you learn out, you brought it within. So I believe that a lot of things that we seek are within, but we don't know what they are. We have a sense of but they are. Sometimes we have a strong hold on certain principles about who we are and actually what makes us. But those principles have to be cultivated in the ways of being grateful, being a being humble, you know what I'm saying? Just being overwhelmed, you know what I'm saying, by actually being selected for this certain task that's for your life, right? And be able to
Right.
reach certain spaces that's in your life, to be of that type of peace with it will allow you to
Yes.
just have peace with it in totality and not if you have to eat today as opposed to tomorrow, or you know how long can you sustain without one thing you always had, or or do you always have to have all the things that you have now, or they're not dead, and then what happens? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's
Right.
like, not putting, like, but what you would say, all your eggs in one basket. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not this one entity,
Do
right?
you think that I'm thinking about when you're saying that, Nathaniel, is really living a life of where you have actually let things go. You have let a lot of things go that you realize that to really ask you actually to hold on to them will not allow you to grow because that's what I feel that life is a constantly a process of constantly growing. That's life. To me, if you're
Yeah,
not growing, you're not living. If you're
yeah,
not right,
yeah. I mean, it's basically like this. Is basically like you say you're surrounded by, let's say you're surrounded by a magnetic field. In order for a magnetic field to continue, new energy has to go into that magnetic field to continue, right? And for it to get stronger, new roars or bursts of energy must also continue in that magnetic field so it can burst forward. We as people always got a fond saying that we always use, that every element of the earth also exists within us, right? We
yes,
use this concept
yes,
over and over and over again, right? So if
right,
that's the case, then that means that this same, I'm saying, magnetic field that supposedly would surround our lives or surrounds us within our lives. You know what I mean?
that's
Like,
right, that's
of
right,
who we are, like what we bring forth into the land. and we have to be able to see that we actually this force, we are the force to be reckoned with. Right? We have the ability to keep our power, as you were saying, by releasing it. Right? That's how we keep our power. That's one of the ways to keep our power is to release our power. Because those
Right.
vibrations that we release, they in turn, come back and find us again through the waves of it, and we'll get dragged into the waves and brought in maybe to a higher vibration of what it is that we will be seeking, because we freely gave out, what I'm saying, what we were seeking to come back to us. So
Right.
it's
And that's
like,
understanding that power is energy.
yeah, that's what it is.
It's
Yeah,
energy,
that's what
just
it
like
is.
everything else is energy. And in order to increase that energy, like you said, you have to let it go.
You gotta let it go. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't, then what they would say, pressure burst pipes, right? We are the biggest pipes in the world. There's no greater pipe in the world than people, right? We burst all the time in so many different elements and so many different forms and illustrations. The Most High shows us that we have the potential to blow ourselves up as well as others. You know what I mean? By our core beliefs, belief systems, our religious context, our physiological or even metaphysical response of how the world is, that we also can explode at any given time. And one of the things about exploding in the world is knowing that you may have a story, in the news, but it's only going to be short lived, right? So being grateful and humble for what you have, the people that surround you, and even like just being connected to life itself, is something that will keep you grounded into your own power, in this world, and not really, looking to be defined by it, or by those that portray it to be what it's going to be. Because the same people that will basically magnify you in your greatest hour will decrease you in your lowest. So
Yes. 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 Thank you, Nathaniel, for another wonderful, beautiful hour. I am grateful. I am thankful for this time that we have been able to spend in learning how to keep our power. And the one word that stays with me is being humble. What you said in the beginning of being humble and thankful and knowing that our power is a gift. It's a gift to be thankful for. So thank you, Nathaniel, again for a beautiful, beautiful conversation. Now it's that time for us to um, go on and with our day. But before we do, I would just like to say this music is not our music. We're just using it as a way to relax, as a way to connect to that peace within. If you're in a safe environment, close your eyes. Take a deep breath to the count of 4. Let it out like you're blowing through a straw. Take a deep breath to the count of 4. Let it out like you're breathing through a straw. Relax the top of your head. Relax. Relax your forehead. Relax your face. Move on down. Relax your neck. Relax. Relax your shoulders, your arms, your fingers. Move down your body, relaxing as you go. Relax. Relax your thighs. Move down your legs, relax your calves, your feet. Wiggle your toes. Relax. Take a deep breath to the count of 4. Let it out like you're breathing, pushing through a straw. I'm going to count backwards from 5. We're going to take a deep breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath to the count of 4. Let it out like you're pushing through a straw. Take a deep breath to the count of 4. Push it out like you're breathing through a straw. Open your eyes. Open your eyes.
Oh, okay.
Peace.
Peace and blessings, everyone.